just recently in December, just over a month ago, you guys introduced the world's first liquidity pool for real estate. This is absolutely huge. I think everybody needs to be talking about this. I'm going to pump up your tires for a second here because I can't understate how big of a deal this is. When we had you on the show just over a year ago back in December, I remember you said the line that your objective was to build the NASDAQ of real estate.
That's right.
Yeah. You have just taken a massive step towards that. So congrats to you and the whole team right off the bat. Let's talk about what has happened, what this launch has been like, and why this is such a big deal for the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first it's important to know that it's not so much the technical aspects, while although impressive and I'm very proud of our team's work, that and the fact that it's even a world's first that makes this really unique and interesting. I think the really important benefit of this really is the end result, the value it provides our users and any potential users of the platform in the future. And so if you think about real estate transactions, right? Because again, these are not virtual land. They're not some, meme coin or some virtual tokens. They are actual physical ownership in individual specific houses or properties, right? And so if you think about the property market, for hundreds of years, it's basically transacted in the exact same way with little to no innovation on top of that, right? And so, you could probably pinpoint hundreds of years ago, there would be lawyers drafting up documents, in the Wild West of the US when people were claiming land. They're like, oh, I'm selling you my barn, or like, I'm selling you these acres of farmland, or whatever is the case. And that pretty much is kind of how it's still done today, if you think about it, right? You pour a house, whether it's for you to personally live in or for you to, invest in, you typically view the property, you have agents, and then afterwards you negotiate on price. And then if there's a agreement on price, it's all paperwork. It's all just paperwork, legal contract, and eventually the deed is recorded by, your local county and held by the government. And then that's it. You're now recognized as the new owner of this property, and that's the process. And for the vast majority of people that we've spoken to in the past, even ones that are very experienced and have done many transactions, everyone hates this process. I don't know what else to say. Like, nobody enjoys it, and especially as technology has evolved and gotten better, right? Because believe it or not, the stock market actually started out the same way. Wall Street was a group of people literally under a tree, like selling stock certificates to each other in person. Like, hey, who wants to buy these ones? Like, what's up, right? It started out that way. But today, how that market functions is drastically different than how it started, whereas real estate is largely the same. And so for the longest time, not just us, but a lot of people have sort of envisioned, like, what if you could, take that process that real estate transacts in and sort of level it up and basically add technology to it so that you have a similar user experience as essentially buying a share of stock or, share of Apple on your Robinhood app, right? Like, wouldn't that be pretty phenomenal? And not just the experience would be at least 10 times better because it's so much more efficient. You could lower the cost by a huge amount, right? Because of all these added sort of frictions and the time and these legal paperwork, and people have to draft it up and make sure that, you didn't sign the wrong things and legally it all works out. There's a lot of cost, and that's why title and closing tends to be pretty expensive, right? For mortgages, properties, whatever is the case. And so the benefit of what we built here is essentially, for the first time in the world, and you can't do this outside of Lofty anywhere else, you are able to buy ownership and sell that ownership in a specific house, specific property with its own address, with you being the owner, not a fund, that someone else is running, not a REIT, anything like that, into the specific property with the same speed and user experience as buying a share of Apple on your Robinhood, right? So think about that for 1 second. Literally, you can now pull up your phone or your laptop, and if you want to buy a house, you can just click a buy button. It will quote you a price. You say, yes, I have the money. I agree to this price. I want to buy at this price. You click confirm, and boom, you now are an owner. And as crazy as it seems, if in 5 seconds you decide, hey, I don't want to be an owner anymore. You can now repeat that exact same process, but just click the sell button this time. And then boom, you're not the owner anymore. And someone else bought it off of you. And this could literally happen depending on how quick you click things within the span of seconds. Now, I don't encourage people to day trade real estate because it's fundamentally a different asset. But technologically speaking, and the actual practical experience is now you can for the first time in the world. And so really that is kind of, what gets us really excited. I think we've realized our vision of making the asset class truly liquid for the first time in history. And so, yeah, we're really excited to continue to grow and build this.